All right, we're back. Next morning, starting to take it apart. This actually took me like 10 minutes, not even, to get it here. You know, whenever you guys are putting your project cars together, you always got to try and think of yourself, because everything's got to be worked on eventually, whether it's right away or a year later or whatever. But anyways, I made it pretty easy for myself to get the radiator out, fans, water pump, etc. So got those out. I already have the crank bolt out and getting ready to put the puller on it and pull that off. Then I can pull the timing cover. And then I can get a glimpse of the oil pump and the O-ring and see if there's an issue there. Fingers crossed that there is, because if that's not the issue, then I have bigger problems. So I'm really hoping to find something in there. I will be back shortly with this apart, and we'll take a first look together. All right, balance is off. All the bolts are out of this, and I have not pulled it yet. Well, I don't really see an obvious issue, so that's not good. I was really expecting to see something there, like the O-ring pinched or something of them sorts. I guess I'll pull the oil pump apart real quick and see if I can see anything in there. All right, I got oil pump out, dropped the oil pan down a little bit. This pickup has a bolt right there. So made it a little bit of a pain, because I didn't really want to take that bolt out and have to try and fish it back in. Here's the oil pump. It's a little rough, but no reason it should have lost oil pressure. But on the back side of the O-ring, it was pinched. So I messed up, and it took it a while to show its face. So this was pinched somewhere down there. So it must have been sucking air, or, obviously wasn't happy, because this engine made no noise until it lost oil pressure. Then the valve train started clicking and clacking, but there was no knocking noise. It didn't, I don't believe it spun a bearing. There's no bearing material in the oil. There's no reason for it to spin a bearing. So I'll get a new O-ring. I'm gonna get a new oil pump since I have it out. Might as well put a fresh one in there. And hopefully we'll have oil pressure, fingers crossed. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I am questioning if that little pinch caused it to have 4 pounds of oil pressure, but I would be hard pressed to believe it doesn't, that it wouldn't cause a major issue. So I screwed up in putting it together, and kind of kicking myself for it, because when I put that oil pan on and this O-ring and all that, it was on an engine stand, and it was super easy to do. So even in the easiest of spots and environments, you can make mistakes. It's very well possible. So I will get a new oil pump ordered. I'm also going to order, just because I don't like the way this thing sits, ICT, and there's a couple other companies, make a piece that bolts on both sides of the oil pump. And it's supposed to hold this flush or flat, whatever you want to call it. So hopefully that'll help prevent things like this happening. So I will be back with you guys probably about a week, I'm guessing. It's going to take a couple days for the, it's Saturday today. So I got to find what oil pump I want. Not too sure which one I want, whether I want a high pressure, high volume, et cetera, et cetera. There's a bunch of different ones. So I'm going to do some research there. I'll make sure it comes with a new O-ring or two. And get that little piece to help hold that flat. And then we'll be back. But all in all, I have 30 minutes into taking this apart, and it should take me about the same to put it back together. So, not a bad job to do. Glad I built the truck the way I did. It always helps if you take a little bit of extra time when you're putting something together to make life a little easier on yourself down the road, because I think we've all been there where we're cursing out an engineer working on a car because they put a bolt in some stupid spot that wasn't necessary to put it there. But I'll be back with you guys next video in about a week or so. Hopefully less than a week. Peace. All right, real quick. I know I said I'd be back in a week, but I just happened to get looking at the pump. I don't think the O-ring was an issue, but I don't think it was the biggest issue. So I just found this right in here is a piston. That is the oil pressure relief for when you get into high RPMs. That'll start opening up so it doesn't, so you don't get 120 pounds of oil pressure. That was open. It was like almost down at the bottom right here, like right there. I hit it with a pick and it sprung, and when I let off, it sprung back closed. So that was probably my issue. That would be why it had little, very little oil pressure at idle and would go up, because it was bleeding a little bit off when it wasn't supposed to. And that would make sense because I ripped on it a couple times, which means it would have opened because I got up in the probably about the 6,000 RPM range. So I think that is what caused my issue. So get a new pump ordered, get the new O-ring. Looks like they'll be here Tuesday. I was just looking at ordering them. So I'm going to order them now. Now I know for sure that was a problem. So I'll see you guys in a couple days.